Hi guys, today's video is super packed. I'm going to be showing you how I do my Travis Scott braids or Jumbo Knotless Braids, as well as an update on them, how to properly take them down with a natural hair mask using aloe vera gel, and then how to transform that look into the wet look. So I'm going to start off by blow drying my hair because braids look a lot cleaner when your hair is flat underneath, especially if they're bigger braids like these. And after that, I'm going to take my rat tail comb and part off 1/3 of my hair because I want these parts to be really big and chunky and I want the braids to lay super flat, so I'm going to make pretty big parts. So after I part the bottom third of my hair off, I'm just going to section that into 3 more parts and then rubber band them and twist them up so that they can be out of the way as I continue to part up my head. After I part the bottom section, I'm just going to put them in rubber bands, twist them down, and then move on to the middle section. And I'm going to do the same all the way up to the top, just to save me a lot of time when I actually get into braiding, and also to make sure that my braids are super perfect. So doing the parting and the braiding separate is super helpful, especially if you're doing these braids alone like I am. So now that we have all of our braids sectioned off, I'm going to go ahead and start with Murray's pomade to lay down the hair. And I really like to use this product for my protective styles because of the consistency. It's basically like a really thick Vaseline, which is really good to lay the hair down and get it tucked nicely into the braid. And it also naturally absorbs into your hair as time goes on, so it's good for the long run as well. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys a couple times up close exactly how I feed in the hair, but basically for this knotless style, I like to start off my knotless braids simply by braiding my own hair off of my scalp, 2, 3, or 4 braids down, and then adding the braiding hair in with very small pieces. Doing it this way makes it look the most natural and makes it look very flat on your scalp, and I think it just makes it look the best as opposed to knot braids or adding in hair right up at the scalp. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in a couple more pieces so I can finish off this braid and then move on to another one and really talk you guys through exactly how I add in the pieces. I just wanted to show you guys really quick for those who may have seen my previous video where I did a walkthrough of how to knotless braid or just simply like to do it in their own style. This is about the size of the braid, how big the added hair pieces are, and just exactly where I put in the hair. So I just wanted to show you guys that first before I really get into the in-depth details. So now to move on to a braid up at the top of my head, even though that my hair is already blow dried, I'm just going to go ahead and straighten it again because I want these braids to look as clean and flat as possible, especially on the very top of my head. So for that reason, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure those are straight instead of just blow dried out. And now for the actual braiding, as you can see here in the video, I'm just doing a little bit extra to make sure that braid is laying very flat, and I also am going to start braiding it at the bottom of the part. Once I get finished braiding my natural hair about 3 or 4 times off the scalp, I'm going to go ahead and add this little tiny piece of hair to the braid and then start braiding again 3 or 4 pieces down and then add another small piece. And I just attach it to 2 of the hair pieces, as you can see, and lay it down with a little bit of pomade as I start getting towards the bottom, like the end of my natural hair growth. And I'm just going to keep adding small pieces of hair one by one until finally I'm off of my natural hair and I can just braid all the way down to the bottom. Now to move on to my very last braid, again I'm going to straighten it because it's up at the top / front, so I just want it to be as flat as possible since these parts are so big. And again, I'm going to braid it so that it lays down as flat as possible. So I'm just going to braid it close to the bottom part and just make sure it's super snug, not too tight, but tight enough where you can braid your natural hair and it'll stick. Once I get the braid started, again, I'm just going to braid off of my scalp about 3 or 4 times so I can see the thickness of my natural hair, and then I add in the small pieces of hair. So basically, I'm really just braiding my own hair and adding extensions somewhere within the braid. So as you can see, like I just lay down the braiding hair on top of one of the sections or two of the sections, loop it around, and just continue braiding as if it's not there. That's what gives me the best results. That's what gives me the most natural results. And that's what genuinely makes my braids look like they're literally just growing out of my head that long. Now that all of the hair is added in, I'm just going to go ahead and finish off this very last braid and braid it all the way down to the bottom so that I can move on to my favorite part, which is slaying these edges. So today I'm going to be using Touchdown Edge Control line. I love to use this edge control whenever I have braids in or just my hair's off my face because my edges are a lot more noticeable, and so I can't use any edge control that's going to flake up or just not have the best possible hold. And so this is a really good product to use whenever you want your edges to be very neat, especially if you have really thick hair like mine that takes a lot of hold to put it down, but you don't want it to flake up. And then once I have my edges done, I'm just going to seal the deal by dipping my hair in hot water so that I can seal the braid and it doesn't come unraveling, it doesn't get frizzy, and most of all, it just has a lot more body to it and it looks very natural. Again, giving off that look like these braids are just my natural hair. So I find any sort of hair tutorial or braiding tutorial a lot more useful when I can see an update on the hair in a week or 2 weeks, and so I just wanted to show you guys that here as well. This is 6 days after I recorded this video, so as you can see, like I do have a little bit of frizziness and they do look older, but these braids could definitely last a little bit longer if I just refreshed them or wanted to. I just have an interview tomorrow, so I can't show up looking like Travis Scott. So unfortunately I'm gonna have to take these braids down, but I'm gonna show you guys how I take them down properly while moisturizing them and just having as little hair fallout as possible, and also how I'm gonna turn it into my next hairstyle. So whenever I take my braids out, I like to use a hair mask just so I can put in some of that moisture that my hair has been missing for so long. And today I'm going to be using my absolute favorite mask, which is the all natural aloe vera gel. And I think the easiest way to apply this is to cut off the spiky ends, cut the leaf in half, and then poke holes in it so some of that slimy stuff starts to accumulate, and then just putting it all over my hair until my head is completely saturated. And then once my whole hair has been covered in the gel, that's when I'll start to take the braids out. Aloe vera is an amazing product to use on your hair for so many different reasons, especially in its most natural form, and that's probably why it's my favorite hair mask to apply in general. But when you apply this, you definitely want to focus on your scalp like I'm doing here, because it has countless benefits for a healthy scalp, which is the very first step to healthy and long hair growth. Aloe vera is a great conditioner for your hair. It cleans oil buildup off of your scalp, it repairs dead skin cells, and overall it's just a great ingredient to use if you're trying to make your hair grow thicker, longer, and faster. Once I've applied the aloe vera gel all over my braids from root to tip, I'm just going to make sure that it's completely saturated and give myself a little head massage to kind of get blood flowing to my scalp, because I haven't massaged it in a while since it's been in braids, and also just to make sure that that aloe vera gel is covering all parts of my scalp and not just the part that's been parted by the braids. I'm also going to focus the aloe vera gel around my hairline just because I've been putting a lot of products like edge control there to help slick it down. So I'm going to use that aloe vera gel to kind of break up some of that product buildup and make it a lot easier for me to take down my hair. So now to get to the actual unbraiding, I'm just going to take my scissors and cut directly under where my natural hair is kind of starting to poke out of the braid, because that tells me that it's not my natural hair anymore. So I'm just going to cut under directly one by one. If I had a lot of braids, I'd cut them all at once, but again, I have like 10, so now that they're all done, I'm just going to unravel them with my hands and just sort of take out the added in pieces of hair one by one. And it should be a lot easier with the aloe vera gel in, just because it adds a lot of slip and moisture to your hair. So as I'm taking them out, I'm just massaging my scalp, and it's showing a really nice braid out, so I'm excited. And I'm not seeing a lot of my hair coming out, so I haven't had that much shedding, which is good because that means that I put these braids in properly. They weren't too tight, they weren't yanking on my scalp or anything. So it's safe to say it's been a successful protective style. This is what my hair looks like as soon as I took out the braids, when I just put the aloe vera gel over the braids and around my scalp. And so now I'm just going to take that exact same gel, use the rest of the aloe vera leaf, and just make sure that my hair is completely saturated. And it should be a lot easier to do now with the braids out of the way. And I'm just going to do this while scrunching it in, so that I can I'm basically applying the gel like I would any hair gel in my bathroom. Doing it this way is what is going to give me the wet look that I'm trying to go for, while still using just natural ingredients. And again, once that aloe vera gel is completely applied and my hair is totally wet, I just apply it like I would any hair gel or leave-in conditioner. And I like to do a lot of scrunching and kind of raking through with my fingers. And then I'm just going to go back and spot correct and fix any fuzzy pieces that just might need to be finger coiled a little bit. And this is the final look, so I love it, and I hope that you guys can either try the knotless braids or the mask or the wet look. And if you do, please let me know. Send me pictures to my Instagram at curly.strands, and subscribe to catch my next tutorial. Thank you.